There, we are live.
There you are.
There we go.
There I go. Or there she goes again.
Something like that. Let's see. Logitech. Remind me later. I don't want to install that just about to start.
Do it.
No, seeing that's the software that controls my camera. No, thank you.
Okay. I suppose you have a point there, sir.
Okie dokie.
Smoky.
Let's get this shindig started. Just 1 second.
What precisely is a shindig? Is this something I need to know about?
No idea.
So about every hour or so, my computer has like a little ding, and it's a notification from something like Steam or one of my random game clients. I have no idea what's coming. What?
Discord?
Maybe, but like I don't have any Discord notifications.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's like just every once in a while. It's like, haha, I'm going to drive you nuts.
No idea. All right.
Well, that's unfortunate that you don't know because I don't know, so nobody actually knows.
Man, this mic stand does not want to play nice today.
Is it a little wibbly wobbly?
Sup, Clark?
Do we have a Clark in the house?
Yeah, we do. All right. So hit this record button. And hold on 1 second. All right. Let's do this, shall we? All right, recording. And muting Zelius momentarily. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Ultimate Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Hello, sir. It is a good time to see you here on the Confusion of Alterness.
I, of course, am your host, Charlie. I'm joined once again by the Plifficar himself, Zelius.
It is good to see you.
Yes, it is indeed good to be seen. Ladies and gentlemen, this, of course, is the Thursday Night Hangout. This is a weekly live show. We try our best to cover the topics that are most important to you during the show. If you haven't submitted your topic, question, etc. at this current moment in time, have no fear. All you got to do is just drop it in the chat. We'll try to add it to the list of topics for the show. If we unfortunately run out of time, we will add it to the very next show, which will be next week. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And the first bit of news, I guess, or at least I think, the big topic is the fact that MomoCon happened this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Nice.
Ultra Confusion was there. There was a panel 7 o'clock Thursday night called "Video Games Change It for the Good?" Question mark.
And did they change for the good?
I think that it was a very successful panel. Unfortunately, the audio was kind of crap on the recording, but that's okay. Our very good friend Ron Jones from the Indie Cluster jumped in onto the panel, was able to give his 2 cents. We kind of preface it by going, look, here's the deal. Not going to lie, but throughout this panel, we're going to be pushing the fact that you should be supporting indie games.
Yes.
So, just a heads up, but it's going to happen.
You have a former title of a convention talk show that you did.
What was that?
So you think you finished your indie game?
Oh, yeah. So you think you finished it. Right. Well, that was more for the developers. This one was more for the consumers. But anyways, it was a very good panel. It was very well attended, I felt. We had close to 40 people in there. So
nice.
Ron apparently was a little bit spooked or surprised by the sheer number of people in the panel. But hey, it's not bad numbers for a Thursday night.
I know. People getting out of their house on a Thursday night. I don't understand, sir.
Now, of course, MobileCon was more than just a Thursday. There was a Friday and a Saturday, and I was extremely excited by the fact that I had 2 special visitors come by on Saturday and help me out, them being my lovely sister Alex and my brother-in-law Joel, though I think that Joel was more intrigued by the fact that they had pro wrestling occurring within, I guess, earshot of where our table was. And there was some pretty impressive stuff. Alex, I did not participate in aggressive karaoke. I apologize. Now, that being said, I was very excited to have Alex and Joel there, and of course, one of our really good friends of the show, who goes by the name Angelus, also helped out on Saturday as well to help watch the table. Unfortunately, because I was flying solo through the vast majority of it, I didn't get a lot of interviews done. I only got 5 interviews done. I was planning to get like 10, but still trying to work out the logistics for that. But so be on the lookout.
What's your favorite interview that you did?
I have to say, okay, so I interviewed a developer that was creating a game called Operation Zeta, one for Closer Than You Know. There was another one who he had multiple titles there, but his company was called Argent Games. There was a game called Lightbreak, which looked really interesting. And then there was also Voids Don't Bloom. Now, there were a couple other games that I checked out that I wanted to get interviews with. Like I said, I didn't, unfortunately. But hopefully I could work out something to maybe get some digital interviews or, online interviews done as well. So, but that being said, it was a very interesting MomoCon just because it's been quite a few years, and I got to see Noodle Boy. I of course got to see Indie Cluster in all its glory, which Ron continues to do an amazing job with the Indie Cluster. Then of course we got to see Dr. Ryan. Are my lights off?
It looks like you're actually like in a show with your lights off.
You mean in the background?
Yes.
Yes.
No, like there's just no, like I can see your face, but it's like you're in a horror show ready to be attacked by something.
Yes. No, those lights are not plugged in right now because, well, it's a long story, but
fair enough.
They're not plugged in, therefore there is no backlight today.
Okay. So I'm not totally imagining things. I'm like, it looks different.
Yes. The power's out. No, the power's not out. It's just they're not plugged in right now. If the power is out, we would be having this show.
My internet's not working.
Anyway,
Sorry,
so
I can't plug in my modem. There's no power.
There will be a MomoCon 2023. I did have one surprise guest or individual come by my table, and that, of course, is our very good friend Blaine, who now lives in San Francisco. He did come stop by the table, and everything seemed to happen on Saturday. Have you guys played Star Wars Renegades? No.
I've not heard of it. Not gonna lie.
I have played. What was the one I played?
Star Citizen?
No. Star Wars Fallen Order, which was phenomenal, and they're getting a sequel. And the rumor is there's going to be two playable characters. So
nice.
That'll be fun. All right.
You played Star Wars, the Lego game.
I also been playing that too, though my sons have been playing that more than I have because they kind of take over the Switch.
Mm.
Now, so MomoCon 2023 is going to be amazing. Who is your least favorite Spider-Man actor? Who's my least favorite Spider-Man actor?
You know, I have not seen the Garfield Spider-Man. I actually saw it's on Netflix, so I need to watch The Amazing Spider-Man with Garfield to see, like, how does he compare?
Okay, so here's the problem with this question. Who is my least favorite Spider-Man actor? Are we talking about actors who've played Spider-Man, or are we talking about actors in Spider-Man movies? Because
I think it's implied that Alex means the actual Spider-Man actor.
See, I am going to take a more vague approach to this.
Sometimes you got to read between the lines. It's like an SAT question. What is the most logical answer?
I don't go for logical answers, so boom. Played Spider-Man. I don't know. I guess Garfield because I haven't seen Garfield.
Yeah. I feel like, what's the one now? I forget his name.
Tom Holland, but he's done.
Tom Holland, but I feel like he gets a little bit of a nudge, maybe unfairly, because of the Avengers.
Because he's actually in the rest of the MCU.
Yeah, none of them had the MCU to rely on. But when you have him, who's in there with, Tony Stark and Thor and the other guys, I think you get a rub that Garfield and Tobey Maguire did not get just by the fact you're there.
Okay, so Eve chimes in and says she doesn't like Tobey. To be honest with you, I think Tobey in the later movies is just trash. I think if you're talking about...
The first one was good.
Yes, exactly. I think if you're talking about Spider-Man actors who kept the awesomeness, then it's definitely Tom Holland. Of course, he had the back of the MCU and being an Avenger. Yep. But like the Tobey Maguire movies just got goofier and goofier. It's kind of like what happened with the end of like the Batman series before The Dark Knight, where it just got like neon lights and nipples on costumes.
Well, yeah, if Tobey Maguire was, a decade later and he had the MCU, I think it'd be a different discussion. But at a certain point, the writers kind of came out, like, started losing steam. And also at a certain point, it becomes a cash grab where it's like, well, and plus Sony actually contractually, one of the reasons it's continued making these Spider-Man movies is in order for the Spider-Man theatrical character to remain under the Sony intellectual property stewardship, they had to come out with a Spider-Man movie every X number of years. So because of that, there's not a chance in hell that Sony was going to go like more than a couple of years without a Spider-Man movie, no matter how bad it is, because they weren't going to lose the rights of basically having the Spider-Man movies.
I thought that was more X-Men, but you're probably right. It's probably Spider-Man.
No, it's definitely that, because remember there was a lot of discussion of whether or not the current Spider-Man of Tom Holland would actually be in the MCU, because the speculation is Sony is like, wait a second, we can get a shit ton of money for this.
Yep.
And so there's the negotiations going between Sony and Marvel I guess now Disney, to try to keep, obviously Spider-Man coming back into the Avengers fold, and Sony wanted to get the money for it.
thankfully, Sony's smart. Because that would have been the dumbest thing. No, we don't want lots and lots of money. Have you heard how Doctor Strange was supposed to come out pre-Spider-Man, so there is some confusion in the movie? Okay, so that the Doctor Strange, the was it the Multiverse of Madness or whatever? There definitely is already a lot of debate around that movie simply because he remembers Peter Parker in the movie apparently, and the No Way Home, the last Spider-Man movie, kind of makes it a little difficult for that to be canon. So I could see that.
I haven't seen basically a new Marvel movie since Avengers Endgame because I haven't been to a theater since COVID hit, and I don't have Disney Plus.
Well, maybe you should get Disney Plus so you could fix that problem right there.
Believe me, it's getting more and more tempting because, good Lord, are they filling up with the MCU shows on Disney?
Well, and the Star Wars shorts as well. They're pretty good too.
True. Yes. I mean, obviously I haven't seen them, but everything I hear is that they're pretty freaking good.
Speaking of MCU shows, one of the shows that I just finished watching right before MomoCon was Moon Knight. And it was killing me that I couldn't find someone at MomoCon that could explain the ending to Moon Knight for me because it's still driving me nuts.
Have you searched the internets?
I'm scared of searching the internets for conspiracy fan theories because that goes down a very dark, deep rabbit hole.
There's actually usually some pretty good YouTube ones that actually do like a decent overview without going too far down the rabbit hole as far as like what does the ending of the show actually mean.
No. It's just how does that actually that shouldn't have worked the way that the ending happened. It shouldn't have worked without one big caveat. But anyways, I have to continue to be vague because
don't want to spoil
spoilers
for the rest of us.
Exactly. But speaking of, I guess, big name movies that aren't easily available unless you're willing to pay the money to, like, lots of money to actually stream it, or you've been to a theater, it's already been announced that there will be a Sonic 3.
Hey, another franchise that keeps on making money and doing it well, apparently, because I've not seen either of the two Sonic movies.
What's our thoughts on The Witcher 4?
I will let you know in like 6 years. I mean, sir, like I don't expect the new Witcher 4 to come out for many years. I mean, they're still fixing Cyberpunk 2077.
No, that's fixed.
There's supposed to be more patches coming out.
Right? No, right, but it's like fixed.
It has been largely fixed from what I've read. But yeah, I don't expect anytime. I mean, cool. Yeah. Will Henry Cavill make a guest appearance as one of the Witcher variants in it?
Who knows? The only thing that I've heard is that the research phase for like all of the lore and whatnot has concluded in regard to The Witcher 4, the video game.
If you need to do research, like there's probably a guy you could ask who wrote the books. You might know a thing or two.
I think they're just trying to see how far. Well, they probably were. That's probably what the research was. They just sat down with him and Henry Cavill and just spitballed ideas of, would this make, would Geralt actually do this?
It depends. Is it a grunt or a fuck?
Or, what was it? What was the, shoot, I forgot what the other thing was. Are they going to try to incorporate some of the TV show into the next game?
I don't know. I could see them trying to kind of keep that separate.
How do you feel about the new Street Fighter?
honestly don't know anything about the new Street Fighter or for the new Harry Potter that movie. For that,
Street
again
Fighter
the Harry Potter franchise.
6. I want to say I sort of saw something about that. I think the problem for me is that when it comes to, well, first of all, I suck at fighting games unless I can button mash to my heart's content.
What about the panda? Wasn't there that panda game? Kung Fu fighting pandas or something that
Kung
you did at?
Fu Paws of Fury.
There you go.
That was an amazing game.
I mean, pandas have paws. It follows.
That was but that was a Super Nintendo game. But it was awesome.
No, I mean, I know it was many years ago.
It was an awesome game though. Paws of Fury, man.
Is it the only one you're good at?
No, I mean I was okay with Guilty Gear X2 because you have those all right, it seems that Auburn Jules, Georgia Tech, wants to chime in and says Moon Knight was better than Hawkeye. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think that Moon Knight definitely, like, the action pace was definitely higher up there than Hawkeye, but I kind of fell in love with the dog named Pizza.
Having a healthy, animal sidekick always has its pluses and shows. Let's be honest.
Touche. But going back to she responds, it was way more creative and fun. I could see it. I mean, well, the other thing is that we kind of already know who Hawkeye is. I mean, we've seen him in the MCU, and having his own TV show was cool. It was interesting. It kind of allowed for a little bit more background on the character Ronan, and allowed for some cameos. But I don't know. Moon Knight, that ending just makes me. There's too many questions in my head. Let's put it that way. Speaking of questions, how do you like the Mapples with the French government banning the English gaming terms of streaming and esports and other things? And the reason behind it is to basically, they don't want to further dirty their language. They are trying to preserve the purity of the French language. Therefore, they want French individuals to utilize the French verbiage for streaming and esports.
Sure, I think people probably still just call it esports and streamers, and the French hooty tooty people can whatever.
So
sure.
basically, the French governmental Gazette, which publishes major legal information, has overhauled the rules on using English tech jargon. The decision has reportedly been made in an attempt to preserve the purity of the French language and to ensure that game players in France don't use anglicized terms for activities and concepts that can be explained in French.
Sure. Yes. Again, it'll still be esports and streamers, I think, to like 98% of the people.
So examples that were given were the English jargon pro gamer. Then they gave an example of how you would say it in French, which I could attempt to do, but I'm going to butcher it. So let's try not to. And then of course streamer. God dang it! Now we have.
Come on, use your French skills, man.
Okay, fine. Pro gamer, it's joueur professionnel, which is basically professional gamer.
Hey,
and then streamer is joueur amateur en direct, which roughly translates live player host. And cloud gaming, they went jeu video en nage, which I guess is whatever.
So, you know what? I'm kind of expecting something like out of Demolition Man, where there's like a little thing that listens to what you're hearing. And kind of like Sylvester Stallone, every time he cursed, like, would give you like a little fine ticket. It's the same thing in France. Everyone's kind of like, every gamer is going to have like a little thing installed, like in their microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be listened by the French government. If you don't use the proper term, you're going to get like a fine from the government for not using correct e-gamer terms. What do you think, sir?
That's a little crazy, and that sounds more Russian or Chinese than French. But by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why, if you're listening to the podcast and you're wondering why there was a little bit of peer pressure to try to attempt to do the French words, is because there is a native French speaker who joined the chat, and so I felt obligated to at least attempt to do. Clark says, what games are we excited about coming out soon? I know for a fact there is a game that is coming out that Zelius probably has put aside a ton of money for, and it is the game is called Stray, and it is a cyberpunk cat game where you solve puzzles by leaping, scratching, and pushing things off ledges.
Why do I need a game when that's just like real life? That's just what happens when you just sit there.
Because you get to be the active participant, not the cleanup crew.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean, it could be Diablo Immortals, which came out today.
Okay, speak to me, brother.
I mean, I tried it for like an hour, and I will say, at least to start with, there's no microtransactions nagging. But everything I've read about the game, because of course I've looked into it, is basically like once you get like into end game, it basically becomes microtransaction hell. And that in order to basically do like the content to actually give you good gear, you either need to purchase like gems to allow you to do it, or you have to do crafting, which is capped, by the way. You have like a limited number of caps you can do for this in-game gem to be able to do the content. So basically the thing I've read is it's basically once you get through like the main 10 hours, it's basically a giant cash money grab.
So Activision.
Yeah, I think that's crazy, right? Like it's like the screenshot on the website was like, you've seen it, every free-to-play game has it, where it's like you can get the 18,000 gems for only $99. Mm-hmm. I'm like, just give me the full game for like $50. It'd still be a better deal. Stuff like that. That's where I get annoyed. Just a little bit.
Clark,
but it's already been banned in a few countries in Europe because of the loot boxes.
I'm surprised that we don't have a lawsuit yet. Well, I'm sure there are. We just, we got to wait for news coverage to pick it up. The game, there's two games that I'm interested in. That, of course, is the upcoming Alan Wake, and of course the remake for Dead Space, where I pray that they go the Dead Space 1 and 2 route, not the number 3 route. Not gonna answer that question.
I mean, technically, we're a different age every day. We age by day.
Will I be the same age next Thursday? As Zelia has so eloquently put it, we're older each day. So no, I will not technically be the same age next Thursday.
Some of us may be like Benjamin Button for all you know. We go back in time.
Oh boy. That would be interesting. By the way, for those who were wondering, Street Fighter 6 has been confirmed for 2023.
I could never like get the combinations down because I remember Killer Instinct. It was like 40 button combinations, like sequences, in order to do well.
Yeah, I don't. The problem is that I just don't have enough time to master the combinations because it's all about timing.
Mm-hmm.
And I always those like quarter circles paired with like a 3-button combo, and then like a back quarter circle, and then a forward. It just didn't make sense to me.
I'll leave it to the young 16-year-old kids on Adderall.
Sure. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the fact that there is a live action Twisted Metal TV show coming out, and Anthony Mackie was attached to it. At the time, I think everyone was reporting that Anthony Mackie was going to be Sweet Tooth, which just didn't make any sense to me and a lot of other people. Well, it turns out that Anthony Mackie isn't actually going to be playing the part of Sweet Tooth. Anthony Mackie is actually going to be playing the part of. Let me make sure here. Where is it? Anthony Mackie will be playing the part of John Doe, an amnesiac who talks as fast as he drives. Doe has to drive across a post-apocalyptic wasteland to deliver supplies to an outpost and will be aided by car thief Quiet while being pursued by patrolman Agent Stone.
Kind of sounds like Mad Max, the television series.
So
I'm picturing a giant like Krozik desert wasteland with a rock guitarist on the front of this vehicle.
So the car thief Quiet is being played by Stephanie Beatrix, who plays she's Rosa Diaz in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah.
And Agent Stone is being played by Thomas Hayden Church, which I guess that the most like the big nerdy one that you would know. He's Sandman from the Spider-Man series. There's like a bunch of other references for me, but they probably aren't as big of a reference as Sandman from Spider-Man 3.
I'm actually somewhat intrigued by the names associated with it now.
Now, they do have the voice of Sweet Tooth nailed down, and that will be voiced by none other than Will Arnett.
Nice. Okay.
Which it makes a lot more sense than Anthony Mackie voicing Sweet Tooth. It's just Will Arnett's got that crazy, weird voice he could do.
They should have got you. I've heard your crazy voices.
Well, I do have crazy voices, but I don't think it's exactly what they're looking for.
That's disappointing.
Excuse me.
Don't die.
I'm trying not to die. I'm sorry. My throat is a little bit sore from the convention and all the chit-chatting, so.
On the bright side, if you do choke, like there's probably somebody in the house who can help you.
Possibly.
All
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause just for a second to do the friends of the show. These are the amazing individuals who help us show their love and support and help us be the best we could be. So, and ironically, 3 of the 4 were at
MomoCon.
Charlie could do a great Dumbledore voice. Okay.
Maybe he is Dumbledore.
No.
Okay.
No, and it's the original Dumbledore, not the replacement Dumbledore. In my opinion.
To lowly plebs like me, they sound the same.
Wow. No, they do not. They do not. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a shout out to the friends of the show. The first one, of course, and this means even more because this gentleman jumped in and helped me on my panel. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk about the Indie Cluster. The Indie Cluster is an organization of independent game developers that want to gain exposure by being involved in the community. They collectively journey to popular conferences as a traveling booth to help gain attention for their games. They make partnerships in local communities to bring games to the mainstream mindset. They highlight local, unusual, and rare concepts to challenge the paradigm of the common. They also host events to teach kids and minority groups about game development to hopefully one day enter the industry themselves. For more information, go to indiecluster.com. And I know that they're aiming to try to go to a big convention up north more like Midwest North-ish area. So
Nice.
the next one we guys talk about is the amazing Noodle Boy Media. Founded in 2015 by Andrew Trent, Noodle Boy Media, previously WetKid47 Media, is your choice for professional photo shoots and panel recordings at conventions, which is exactly what he did at MomoCon. They pride themselves in providing a high level of professionalism, top-notch experiences, and quality services. If you want more information and to view their full list of services, check out facebook.com/noodleboymedia. Now, everybody's favorite chiropractor, or soon-to-be favorite chiropractor, because if you were at MomoCon, you definitely should have stopped by and gotten an adjustment. And I know that there's quite a few individuals who definitely got adjusted, and went to talk to me about it because I was the featured customer, so I had a nice picture and banner at his desk, and that, of course, is Hero Chiropractic. Hero Chiropractic is a unique healthcare practice set up by Ryan Moore. The company's focus to elevate a patient's experience of freedom, creative expression, and joy. They believe that everyone can be a hero and has incredible heroic potential inside themselves waiting to be unleashed. Hero Chiropractic focuses on mobile chiropractic care in the greater Atlanta area. They are committed to healing clients by creating a plan of action uniquely suited for each person. They make that plan of action as convenient and affordable as possible, and most importantly, suited to your individual needs. If you want more information, go to herochiropractic.com. Now, the last friend of the show that we've got to give a shout out to is Crosspad Creative. Need a new logo or want to work on a full branding and content strategy? Or maybe you need music or audio for your content. Crosspad Creative offers a whole host of solutions for individuals and small businesses. Just email Josh at crosspadcreative@gmail.com and see what he can do for you. Now, since we did that, we've definitely got to give the one most important thing that Alter Confusion loves and supports every single year. So let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, Alter Confusion will be participating in yet another year of Extra Life. Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best, game, to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network Hospital. The money that we raise through Extra Life will go directly to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta as unrestricted funds. This means that the hospital decides where and how to spend the money to ensure the dollars we raise make the biggest impact in the lives of the children they treat. So if you have the capacity to donate, please go to extra-life.org and search for Altered Confusion. While we're on the donating bit, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to point out that Alter Confusion does have a Patreon. Patreon is a way for us to survive on the love and support of fans like you. Patreon lets you, the fans, the lovers, the haters, the supporters, the interdimensional beings, the demigods, the demons, the angels, the spooky individuals, and more to become active participants in the work we love through a monthly membership. This gives you access to exclusive content, community, and insight into our creative process. In exchange, we gain a bit more freedom to do our best work and the stability we need to build an even stronger creative career. We currently have two tiers. We have the $1 a month, that's $12 a year tier. What that will give you is early access to all of our playthroughs, as well as patron-only posts that could potentially help shape the future of Alter Confusion. Now, if you want to jump up to the next level, it's $5 a month or $60 a year. Not only do you get everything at the $1 level, but you also have gained the ability to have your name or organization added to our thank you section for every single Thursday night hangout. So, if you want to be a patron today, go to patreon.com/alterconfusion. Patreon spelled Patreon.com.
There you go.
Okay, so there are some hot button topics that continuously come up the past, well, forever, I feel. And
Forever, yeah.
it's a topic that I think we're all sick of tired of talking about, but unfortunately it keeps happening, and that is unfortunately the continuing trend of trying to utilize video games as a scapegoat towards violence instead of trying to address the actual issue. I feel like unfortunately all of a sudden it's tragic, incredibly tragic, violence that could easily be avoided, and somebody has to open up their mouth saying, well, he played video games, so that's got to be it. And
I think it's an easy scapegoat. I mean, instead of just look at Texas. They're having a special session to discuss the tragic events and whether or not you think there should be gun laws. They are not even, the governor is basically like, nope, we're not even discussing it. So It's like when you won't even be open to even discussing what the actual root causes are, it's really hard to take it seriously when people just kind of cast lots of like, oh, it's video game causes violence, even though there's no evidence to show that's the case.
There's actual studies that have been done that say that that's not a linking factor. The other thing is, and anybody out there who is a celebrity or someone who is an influencer, someone who has a platform, I don't care who you are. If you have your platform, then, and you feel strongly about what's going on and that there needs to be change, then I applaud you for utilizing your platform. I am sick and tired of people going, well, it's not the right time, or that's, you should stay quiet on it because you're just an athlete or just a movie star. Or
what does that even, like, that is literally the dumbest statement. Like, what does that even mean? Like, it makes zero logical sense, literally, that people should stay quiet because they're in a position of which people listen to.
You would think that an individual who has an audience should utilize their ability to, talk to their audience, and nothing changes if it's not talked about.
And guess what? The beautiful thing is, if you don't like what, I'm just throwing him out. I actually don't know what his stance is. But say LeBron James is all like, hey, we need to ban guns everywhere. That's his prerogative. And guess what? If you don't agree with him, you don't have to listen to him. It's really not that complicated. Like I don't really listen. It's not something like I'm being like, oh, look at me, I'm cool. I don't listen to a lot of celebrities because that's just not something I'm into. Like, it just never has. And so, like, what their stances are. So it's really not, and it's not like I go out of my way not to, by the way. It's just something that I don't look at. So it's really not that hard, where if you don't think that they should be using their platform to discuss politics and whatever, you don't have to listen to them. You can just change the channel, not go to tmz.com and listen to them. You can really pretty easily avoid that if you think that they should not have that platform in the first place.
Yes. That's mind-boggling in its own. It's like, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you're allowed to if you have the ability to actually mass, spread your opinion, you're not allowed to if you don't follow under some weird ass guideline rules that are made up on the spot.
Well, notice they only say that with people they disagree with.
Yes.
Like, we're more than happy to have Chris Rock come play at the RNC because he plays his, God bless America music. More power to him, whatever. But, like, they have no problem with that.
You mean Chris Rock?
Oh,
sorry. You said Chris Rock. You mean Kid Rock.
Kid Rock, yes.
Oh, boy, not this again.
Totally different. So Kid Rock, I mean, he's the staple of the RNC, whatever. I don't care. Like, I'll listen to his old rock songs because they're entertaining to me. But they have no problem with him, or, there are other ones out there. know who they are, to be honest. Um, yeah, it's a cop out to basically be like, hey, let's not talk about this. And if that is not the time to talk about it, when is the time to actually talk about these issues?
Never. Ignorance should blanket us all into
Well,
stupidity.
unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who actually think that's a good thing.
I know.
That's
That's truly the scary part.
Yes, it is.
Anywho, can we find another fun topic?
Why have fun when you just be angry all the time, sir?
Well, this one's not really fun, but
Okay.
there is a prominent YouTuber who, and we've seen this before. This has been happening a lot recently, where you have IP owners trying to get their music knocked off of YouTube channels.
Yep.
And a prominent YouTuber who apparently has prided themselves in having a very large Nintendo music library on their YouTube page has received, I believe it was 500 copyright strikes from Nintendo. So they're removing all their Nintendo music. Now, they're not going to remove all of the music. I mean, they're just anything that's Nintendo related is gone. They immediately gone, but they're not closing their channel.
And the thing that usually sucks to me about that kind of stuff, and obviously, we have to preface, Nintendo's on the right to do that.
Yep.
Most people acknowledge it, but it still doesn't mean it doesn't suck. I think the part that to me that sucks is I look at it took years, but about 2 or 3 months ago, Square Enix released on their YouTube channel basically all the Final Fantasy XIV music they could listen to for basically free as much as you want. Before that, you had to scavenge and find stuff. So I guess to me, that's kind of where I draw the line is, okay, now that Final Fantasy XIV music, it's all there to listen to from the Square Enix, YouTube page. Now I feel a little bit more legitimate. Like, okay, yes, go through that route. But Nintendo, who's notorious for also not then releasing that music in easy to consume fashion, that's where it gets a little bit frustrating when they start shutting down these different services when they don't themselves make it easy to do. It's kind of like what happened, post Napster is when you started getting things like Netflix and Pandora and Spotify is in large part piracy went down because now it's very easy to consume media content. Versus when you make it difficult for the consumer, that's when people are going to go all the way to maybe not do it legitimately because it's not an easy way to do it. And frankly, not that I would know about it, of course, but it is easy to pirate stuff.
What?
That's what I've been told.
If you say so.
I mean, like myself, like most people our age, when I was in high school and college, I did try using like the Napsters and that stuff. But once, I dabbled in the Pirate Bay and that stuff. But once stuff did go easy to consume in terms of digital streaming, I've also had little to really no reason. Steam is also a part of that for video games.
Yep.
I really had little to no reason to even need to pirate games if I wanted to. I mean, even for the old games, you have services like Good Old Games, GOG, I guess it's called now, to access a lot of your older library. So to me, it's also that ease of access has really eliminated that incentive to do it. But then when you have like taking down of that easy to consume content, that's what could potentially drive people who had got it that way to a more nefarious method of consuming content.
Right, I agree, and I think the biggest issue is when you create those music libraries, is that when you have X amount of viewers, you start gaining money per view, and then then that's where you get in the true hot water, is that you're making money off of, you know.
Yeah, but once Nintendo does the strike, you're not making money off of it. I
Right.
mean,
No, I'm just saying that up to that point, that person, you know, I don't know how many songs they had, but let's just say that they had, like, I guess they had 500 strikes. So just say they had 500 different songs. You know, if the beauty of having so many viewers or subscribers is that you start gaining, you know, monetary value per view.
Yeah.
And so then that's where you get a lot of angry IP owners, especially Nintendo. Nintendo no likey anyone making a single cent off of their stuff.
You must be the authentic Nintendo. Unless you buy a shirt at a convention that is not licensed.
Yeah, that's to be honest with you, I'm surprised that Nintendo just doesn't have any convention that is over a certain size. I'm surprised they don't have like some undercover person going, okay, these guys are gonna be a troll, these guys are gonna be a troll, these guys are gonna be a troll. We're gonna be busy with all these lawsuits of unlicensed T-shirts and wall clocks and glassware and
all of it. Because I mean, Mario and Nintendo and Zelda, those are obviously really big ones.
Yep.
They always see the conventions.
Yep.
With all the different wares you're mentioning. My guess is because it's kind of like a one-off thing, like it's for that convention versus it's not like a, you know, I have selling my Zelda wall clock on Amazon.
Right, but at the same time, I wouldn't even give, you know, I don't think Nintendo would give you that kind of wiggle room. Oh well, if you're only doing it at this convention, then you're opening up, you know, because you know that there's going to be people who will do that. Okay, so here's and unfortunately I do not know the answer, but commissioned work. So you've got you're paying someone to create, I don't know, like a Zelda, Mario, Sonic crossover piece. You know, that's well, Nintendo owns two of those. Well, actually, I guess Nintendo might actually own Sonic at this point, for all I know.
Who knows?
But I mean, you know, commission pieces. They're creating artistic representations of IPs they don't own. That's, oh my gosh, that's a rabbit hole that I don't think I'll ever truly understand.
I mean, my guess is, without being a lawyer either, is yes, at some point legally Nintendo could go after those, but is it also worth it?
If it's popular enough work, I guess commission work would be a little bit tougher. If it was like mass produced, like we made 5 million shirts.
Yeah.
With, you know, I don't know, Zelda kissing Princess Peach.
That's a little bit. Yeah, I think that's where probably they would draw the line, is that mass production outside of that one or two times that you're doing it per year.
Yeah. That would be very interesting to see if your inventory is like, I make 20 Zelda Shield wall clocks a year. Are you going to come after me?
Well, because I mean, I know there is that one guy who does woodworking at conventions.
He's there. He was there.
Yeah, and he goes to MomoCon, he goes to Dragon Con.
Yep.
He's been to other ones, and he goes to a lot. And that's actually, I think they sell the internet. Now that I think about it, because that's how they make their livelihood. It's like a family thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that a lot of these, yes, you make some good bank when it comes to conventions, but at the same time, you've got to have an online store if you're going to continue to do that as your livelihood.
Yeah. I don't know.
One of these days we'll find out. To be honest with you, if I was an artist that followed underneath this umbrella, I'd be scared to speak up, because I do not want myself spotlighted on, am I doing something that could get me sued or not?
Try to keep your head and underground as much as possible.
Exactly. People
Make
could
sure you're
talk about my
make
stuff.
sure you're incorporated as an LLC, so if you do get sued, you don't actually lose anything.
Yes, though technically that doesn't completely protect you, from my understanding, but it's much harder to come after the individual. Final Fantasy 16 is coming the summer of 2023.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that was announced. I don't know. I'll probably still play 14.
And there's people still playing 11, so
I'm always kind of shocked, honestly, that 11 is still online. I'm like, still exist?
yeah, dude. What was it? There's a guy who, like, one of the main, I guess, producers on it, like, even asked, he kept hearing all these rumors about there's a potential shutdown, and finally they came, Square Enix came out and said, no, you're good for now, keep doing what you're doing. So hooray for that.
Yeah. Curious. Are they still releasing so it's 20 years old. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the super crazy thing.
Yeah, and you still got campaigns and stuff. So new version updates still coming out. So they're still doing content.
Shazam. Going back to we were talking about Diablo Immortals and how certain countries have already, stopped it because of the loot crate, the gambling thing. That was one of the things that actually gambling or games of chance is one of the things that came up during the panel during
Absolutely.
MomoCon, and I got a little bit, I guess, overexcited. I was like, look, I'm gambling with my life every single time I twitch my finger. So should I ban this? Because the fact of the matter is that a game of chance literally could boil down to if I hit the jump button at the right time, if it's really what you want to do, if you really want to, dig into it. Because the thing is with this lawsuit that was going or is going through the state of Arizona with a digital card packs, and if that were, I'm almost 100% sure that thing is going to be swatted down. But if digital card packs were seen as gambling, holy ballsack, the ripple effect of that would be insane. Because I immediately, I and Zelius as well,
Yep.
we actually collected physical cards in card packs. I mean, hell, you get baseball cards and football cards. Yes, it is a game of chance. You don't know what card you're going to get in there, and that's the exciting part. It's what drove sales up. Maybe you'll get that special rookie card for an excellent athlete that it's going to be worth millions later on. We're gambling. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the difference in a game, I think where it comes down to is more the predatory nature. Like in a CCG, you at least are somewhat in a level playing field. Granted, I know people can buy more packs.
Yep.
But in these games, you buy the legendary pack versus the regular pack, and it's very I can still play as many games as I want with not Final Fantasy, Magic the Gathering. I might lose a lot, don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But I can still play as much as I want and still play against even people my own elo or level. Versus a game with loot packs, where you're actually literally gated to get to the next content until I basically pay money is what it comes down to. And at that, it's not just that pay money, there's a gambling chance at that to even be able to do that. I think that to me is definitely a differentiation of the two. And I am kind of curious though, to your point though, like, I mean, I see a clear difference, but I know what you're saying. I like at some point, will the countries kind of be like, huh, are, CCG games also the same thing if we do bring it to its furthest logical conclusion?
Yep.
I think they're different, but I can see where they decide like, but then you go further down the rabbit hole and you might as well just ban all video games while you're at it.
Because they're all gambling. You're gambling with your time to spend with your family. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
I have no problem with banning reasonably predatory loot boxes, especially when it's for basically when it gives you a random advantage to basically advancing content, and it's not just cosmetic. Mm-hmm. So I definitely do see those parts. But again, as we see with a lot of laws, is what's that saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yep.
So it can be, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know, but I'll probably continue to play the game and just kind of see what I think of it. It's also on PC. I don't plan on playing on PC. I'm just going to try it on mobile phone and see how that goes, and just kind of go from there.
Well, there you go. We'll find. I'm sure there'll be some kind of middle ground with how far we could take the concept of game of chance. But you're right. There are there's of course there's so many games out there that you get a pretty good chunk into the game, but then you're at the mercy, sometimes predatory mercy of companies out there that are going to make you squeeze every single penny and nickel and dime out of you just so you could get an additional 10 minutes of gameplay.
You played the AFK hero type of games also, like the 5 or 6. Every single one of those, to me at least, would probably fall afoul of the gambling laws, because there absolutely comes at a certain point in the game where you have to pay money, usually with crystals, wherever the currency is, in order to advance, to unlock randomly. You don't know what you're going to get. Your magic card packs of, the newest and best hero that you need to advance to world 20-4. At every single, they all do every single of the games. You get to that certain point and you're like, oh, I hit the paywall.
The limited time exclusive character crossover cards that you get this one super duper uber awesome powerful card with the chance of getting a bunch of other uber powerful cards that you'll never get.
Yep. Because you do look at the actual loot box. I remember there was a law that was passed where at least now they have to print your percentages.
Yep.
It's usually in fine print. You have to find it, but it's there. If you actually look at the odds, they're usually not in your favor.
No, they'll never be in your favor because they want you to really keep buying, coming back and buying more.
Well, and the thing is, too, if you also look at these games and I think this is the hard part where, myself included, you see the $99 gem pack and you're like, what the hell? This is dumb. Mm-hmm. The reality is these free-to-play games, they make their money. They're not off of me and you, because I always ask, hey, where's my reasonable $5 to $10 pack that's going to get me advanced in the game? Mm-hmm. Those aren't there because that's not where they make the money. They make the money off those 1 to 10,000 to more than that whales. They make it off those, trust fund. I use it literally, the trust fund kids who are spending thousands of dollars on basically gambling in this video game. That is factual of where these free-to-play games are making their money is off those whales spending 5-6 digits.
Kids, they gotta be the cool kid. They gotta have the uber awesome, perfect card grouping or whatever.
Yep. No, it's yeah, because you look at every one of those games, like because you always have like the tiers of like who's the best like lineup in the game. And there's been games where like I played from like day one or free to play, and you look at what they have, and we're like, wow, like because you can start kind of doing the math to figure out like how much money did this person spend?
Either they're extremely lucky or they spend thousands on thousands of dollars.
You might potentially get one or two lucky, but for the most part, I'm going with the later. Because at a certain point, it comes like a sheer number to get like your 10-star super evolved hero requires like 20 of those character cards.
Yeah, yes, the
Something
merging and combining to make them uber powerful is
it gets pretty insane, the actual number of those that you have to get from a loot box.
Yes. I do want to mention something before I forget again. As is with every single convention that an individual goes to, I want to stress this. This should be everyone's stance. This, of course, is Ultra Confusion's stance. Cosplay does not mean consent. Some cosplay do have risque combinations, but that does not mean that you should act upon it or towards someone who is in that cosplay.
100%. I also look at it as, like one thing conventions have started to do, but they've been doing this for, I guess, for a couple of years now, is they have like the safe place rooms.
Yes.
And I kind of look at it as like, noise aside, obviously, the entire convention should be a safe place for convention goers to go. And it kind of irks me because every time you're like, yes, it should be a safe play, you get some boomer who's like, oh, you special snowflake and you can't take it. It's like, it's not about being, I can't take it. It's about creating an environment that is inclusive and welcoming of all people of all walks and lives so that they feel welcome there, that they're not going to be taken advantage of or, whatever the case is, and that they all feel welcome there is important to, I think, everyone's happiness and sanity, to be frank. Like, and frankly, if you're that person who's like, oh, you shouldn't have a safe place, you got to be able to take it. Well, screw you. We don't want you at our conventions, frankly.
Yeah, you could go.
Like, you're the person I don't want going there because guess what? That's probably going to be the jackass who's going to go get a picture with, as you put it, one of the cosplayers and try to grab her ass thinking it's funny. And it's like, no, it's actually not at all.
I also do want to point out that to anybody out there who does cosplay, you guys are amazing. Okay? Because you're not only you're not only have your fandom, but you're actually visually showing it off. I know that there are certain people out there who are like, an individual shouldn't dress up as this character or that character, or they don't have the body type, or they're the wrong gender. Grow up, people. Like it's if you truly are a fan, you support fellow fans of that IP. The people going after an individual because they might be a little bit larger, or they don't have a big enough bust, or they are the wrong gender is ridiculous. We're there to share our passion and our love, not to bring people down. If you want to do that, stay at home in your dark room, probably in your mother's basement. And you can, bitch and moan about how someone misrepresented or a certain character that's your favorite. But here's a fun fact: everybody sees things in the world differently. Everyone is open to their own opinion and their own interpretation, and we should support anyone and everyone who has the the confidence, the courage, and the passion to cosplay.
Or put it another way, don't be a dick.
Yes, that too.
I mean,
Very simply put.
I know why it's so complicated in today's age, or any age. It's not just today, but just in general, don't be a douche. And like, yeah, it's cool.
Once again, it's if you don't like the way that someone's cosplaying something, cool. Just go along your day. You don't have to, you don't have to agree with the way someone's done something. There's this beautiful thing of
my way's the right way, sir. You're wrong.
There's no such thing as the right way almost 100% of the time. There are many right ways. There's not one. Anyways, all right, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we've reached the end of this show. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zilius, it's been a pleasure getting ready to come our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Night Hangout.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother. And we're out.
Are you sure that you will be able to do this next Thursday? You're not going to be like too old or invalid or falling apart or anything?
I'll survive.
You sure?
Yeah.
I worry about these things,
No, I'll be alive. Don't worry.
All right. Just making sure.
Don't worry, kids. I'll be fine. All right. Well, I've got to cut the stream. I got to talk to Zealous for a second, but I will be streaming on Sunday, Tuesday, and of course the next Thursday for another Ultra Confusion Thursday Hangout